One common take we keep on hearing about AI is that it will replace your jobs. I will call bullshit on that in this video because your job is not just one task, but a bundle of tasks. The other common take that we keep on hearing is that someone using AI will replace you. Again, that's bullshit, and I'll explain why. To explain you that, let's understand the basic nature, the fundamental nature of AI that makes it different from other technologies, and what are the interests behind these technologies. I'm a professor at the University of Amsterdam, and my job is to research and teach. Let's take teaching for an example of a job. I have to read widely for my course to include the readings in my syllabus. Then I have to prepare the lecture slides, and also I have to prepare quizzes that have to test the students while the lectures are going on, while the course is going on. And finally, I have to grade some of the subjective type questions or assignments, essay type questions, because that cannot be graded automatically by a program, such as the multiple choice questions. Now, I have been using AI or playing with it since it came out in November 2022. I have been what you can call an early adopter of the technology compared to some of my other colleagues who have started using it more recently. And yet, I still can't fully automate my teaching, even though I want to desperately. Why is that? Why can't I, someone who's highly motivated to outsource his teaching to AI and who understands the technology and has been using it since the beginning, is still not able to do it? And yet we keep on hearing and reading these takes every time a new model of ChatGPT or Claude comes in, that teaching is dead. Not just teaching, you can replace this with coding is dead, PR and communications is dead, advertising is dead, every knowledge worker is dead because of AI. And these are such bad takes that I can't help but smile and ignore. These takes don't consider anything about the fundamental nature of the technology. What are the interests driving this technology? And finally, how really professions work. So in this video, I'll explain two fundamental characteristics of AI as a technology that makes it different from other technologies so far. And then I will discuss which tasks you can use AI for and which you shouldn't use AI for, because if you use it, you may end up losing your job. The first fundamental thing about AI is what researchers call that it is a black box technology. What it means is that we can't predict what the output of the model will be. This is true for even the scientists that are preparing or working on these LLMs. So the argument goes that, let's say if it was some other technology that came out, such as the calculator or the computer program, the scientists can predict what will be the output based on the input and what is the program, how it is programmed, right? So the input goes into the program and the output comes out. Even if I am not a scientist, I trust that some scientists can actually predict what will be the output of a certain technology. But that is not the case with AI. Even these labs cannot predict what will be the output. Now, the implications of that are we can't have a consistent prediction with AI. The other implication is we get errors or what sometimes are called as hallucinations. So, we can't fully predict where the error will be in the output we get from AI. And finally, and perhaps the most importantly, it creates a doubt in the mind of who's judging our work. They are doubtful how much of that work is ours and how much of that work is AI. So let's say I tell my students that I use AI to prepare my lectures. How do you think the students will react? Negatively. They're like, this professor is so lazy and incompetent. If he can't put effort into his own job, then why should we even bother to listen to him? And this is after I've checked my lecture slides. There is no error in them. Because of the black box nature of the technology, they don't know how much work I've put in and how much work AI did. And they default to this must be all AI, the professor is lazy and incompetent. Now, this is one problem. The other problem is arising from the fundamental nature of AI, which is called spirited technology. What it means essentially is that it is like your eager assistant. The technology is someone like an assistant who is unpredictable, who can make errors, but still wants to help you finish the task and is very eager to offer the help. Now, why this is happening is that these AI models are being designed to keep you engaged. I've discussed in another video why that is, and I will link to it below. But essentially, AI companies are not profitable, and they won't be profitable for a long time. And that is okay for investors as long as they can show the subscribers and how much time the subscribers are spending engaging with these AI models. OpenAI has an estimated revenue of about $25 billion. You would say that's a very good revenue, but the valuation of OpenAI is about $900 billion. And they want to launch their IPO in this year. So if they are looking at an IPO later in the year, they want to make a case for the future of their technology to potential investors in financial markets. They will say, don't look at the profit and loss numbers. They don't matter. Look at the subscription rate and how much our customers are talking and using AI. What happens with the spirited technology is that you finish your job or many tasks of your job faster. Now you will say, how is that a problem? This has to be a good thing, right? The problem is what some scientists call cognitive surrender. Essentially, you are giving up on your mental exercise. To understand this, think of Ozempic, the weight loss drug. It was meant to be for obese people who have dangerously high levels of weight, and therefore it's a medical problem. But now, anyone who wants a shortcut to lose weight can use Ozempic. It used to be that if you were slightly overweight, you would either have to exercise or control your diet to lose weight in a healthy way. But now you have Ozempic. AI is similar in that sense, but actually I will argue it's even more dangerous. Ozempic is actually regulated by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration in the US. It went through many trial phases before it was approved. Many of its side effects are known even if they are downplayed by some of the marketeers. With spirited technology or the spirited nature of the technology, what happens is that you let AI do the task. Now you're dependent on it. And it can take your original ideas and bring you to a very average idea. It's called regression to the mean. Research shows that people using AI for idea generation are coming up with more average ideas. There is less variety in them. And they're closing that process faster. There is a collapse of the idea generation, selection, and execution process. In other words, they feel that they have arrived at the right idea sooner. And if AI does something wrong, remember, because it can hallucinate, then you're screwed. To summarize, AI has two fundamental characteristics that make it different from other technologies: the black box nature and the spirited nature. You cannot predict, because of the black box nature, what will be the output. It can hallucinate. And because of the spirited nature, it is too eager to help you finish the task. And that means something important for your jobs. There are a few things based on the two fundamental characteristics of this technology that you can do. First, you should start with an idea in mind. If you don't have an idea in mind and you want to generate ideas with AI, you should do an iterative process. You have to urge AI to look in new directions or knowledge areas that you don't know very well. At the same time, you also have to rein it in. Remember, you have to be in driver's seat to steer it away from irrelevant results. That means that you have to develop your own judgment and resist the temptation of this early closure that your work is done. It is your eager assistant. It is spirited in nature, but you don't know where it can make errors. So you have to be the supervisor. That means you should design your workflows to include checks and balances for AI generation. Instead of collapsing your work process, you should intentionally divide it. Just because AI can do a task does not mean it is valuable. For instance, I see a lot of people writing on LinkedIn using AI. Why? They are actually hurting their reputation even though they might have good ideas. Remember, the black box nature makes people devalue your ideas if they are polished by AI. What is wrong with writing with a little grammatical error? It makes you more human. So to summarize, if you understand the fundamental nature of the technology, you can use it to better design your work. Now the question is, then why are we still seeing AI layoffs? And the answer to that question is, who has interests behind this technology? And that is actually a different level of analysis. I've discussed some of it in another video, but I think that analysis still needs to be hashed out. My sense is, unfortunately, that the pain will continue for some time and the companies will keep doing layoffs and putting it on AI. and I will make a video analyzing it. Thank you so much for your attention and joining me on Devil Wears Data. I'll see you next time with another video.